Show me. I'm not gonna lose.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing another figurine unboxing. And here we have is a figurine from the manufacturer and distributor Good Smile Company. It is a freeing 1/4 scale B-style PVC figure of the character Chun-Li from the video game series Street Fighter, based on her Street Fighter 6 design. So before we take Chun-Li's figurine out of its packaging, just in case you didn't know, going a little bit back to the past, the original Street Fighter is a Japanese fighting game that first made its debut in 1987 in arcades and is developed and published by Capcom, which the original Street Fighter was later ported to the MS-DOS and PC Engine or TurboGrafx-CD. So moving forward to the next installment in the franchise, Street Fighter II: The World Warrior was released in arcades in 1991, developed and published by Capcom. And this is the game where we, or the world, was first introduced to the character Chun-Li, who made her first appearance in the video game franchise. As seen in this picture is Chun-Li's concept sketch by Yasuda Akira, or Akiman, before being finalized to the Chun-Li that we all know and love, the strong martial artist and the Interpol officer seeking revenge for her father's death. So there were many iterations of Chun-Li throughout the times, but coming back to modern times, this Chun-Li figurine is actually based off the Street Fighter 6 design, which that game was released on consoles in 2023, and the art design for the game is by Fujioka Kaname. So this figurine is actually a little bit slightly different, but that's because this figurine was designed by sculptor Koji Nihashi, with co-production by Dragon Craft, and painted by Yozakura. So as you can see here in the background, this is the art box rotating in 360, and I don't want to keep holding you guys back, so let's just take Chun-Li out of her packaging and see how she looks. I'm in it for the love of winning, spot of all the hatred. They gon' say what they gon' say regardless. Not afraid to fail, I try my hardest. Power up, the time is now, I got this. I'm on fire like the darkness. I've been a failure, I've been a success. I'm like a diamond, I shine under pressure. So here we have this Chun-Li straight out of her packaging. So you can see she is actually wrapped with a little bit of bubble wrapping and not too much material to protect her leggings and stuff. But it seems well packaged. This is actually the top layer, because in the bottom layer it does come with the base, as you can see here, which is a second little compartment that you do have to open and unlock, where you could see this is actually wrapped with a little bit of covering compared to Chun-Li. So after removing the excess material off of this, we can see here is the base, which is black and transparent. As you can see here, it has somewhat of a shiny polished finish to it, so I can kind of see this being easily scratched, so do be careful with it. It does come with a little peg here with a little acrylic cube or ice cube looking thing for the thing, so when you place her foot on top of it, and it is removable, as you can see. But besides that, not really much else to show you. Here at the bottom we do get information for the figurine. As you can see here, Capcom and other stuff here, usually like every other figurine. But besides that, not really much else to show you with this base. It's quite durable, so not really too much to say. It looks like every other freeing base that we get. So let's just move on to Chun-Li's figure. So this is actually quite large, so I'm gonna do my best to give you guys close-up shots of the figurine. As you can see here, Chun-Li, starting from her heel here, which you can kind of see here. They did a great job with the paint here on her feet here. You kind of see a gold black finish to it. I noticed that the tip of my heel is a little bit damaged, but not too much to notice. But going around, you can kind of see here her heel here is a little bit flexible. Do be careful with that. I feel like it could kind of snap, but just handle it with care. You can kind of see there are two holes here at the bottom where you do connect it into the base. So I wonder if this is gonna hold up. I know I had another, I think Mirko, who also stands up in one leg, but that one's fine.
so hopefully this will be fine too. So going up here, just like every other figurine, is actually mixed media. So we give you like a fabric of her stockings here of her legs, which go all the way up to her thigh area here, which you can kind of see. It's kind of hard to tell, but they actually did a great paintwork here on her muscular like leg here, side here. We can kind of see her knee and the side muscle here, which looks really great. It's kind of hard to tell because she does have these like fishnets, so but when you look at it, you can kind of tell the muscle texture there, which looks really well painted. Which I wonder if they're gonna make a bare legs version of this, because I know they tend to make that for other figurines, and I wonder if you'll be able to see the muscles on it. But besides that, you can see here going around, that leg is quite thick, so I think they kind of accurately represented Chun-Li there. And you can kind of see here at the bottom, we see she is doing her little high kick, and you can kind of see her backside here, which the view is kind of being blocked by her little fabric suit here, which goes all the way up. But I feel like that could have been removable, but it's not. But they did do a nice paint job here. You can kind of see the dark blue with the light blue mixture here, so when the light hits it, it gives it more of a in-depth, like detailed look, which looks really great. And it did, you can kind of see here her one piece going around her entire body here to her backside. But you can kind of see also texture work here by her bottom area there, which looks really great. Here's the top area of her clothing, which you kind of see the same detail, like crease lines here during the fabric being weighed or swaying in the air. And don't forget her bunny tail here, which great texture work too. You kind of see it looks like a little pom-pom. These little pieces here, they're quite flexible, but these feel quite delicate, so try not to really hold it from her sides here, because I feel like this can break. But you can kind of see here from the bottom of her fabric, this piece is actually they glued it together. So here we have is the side view of Chun-Li. You can kind of see here's her armpit and her bosom area, which actually looks quite detailed here with the shading work. And here we have is her backside, which looks pretty well detailed here. The sculpt work and the paint work looks really amazing. It really captures like a woman's back, which is a pretty also nice view generally. But stop. So here we go on this side here, which we can see. You kind of see her leg is quite thick, which makes sense because she is like a martial artist, so she'd be using her kicks and stuff. Which you kind of see here. I don't know if my camera could capture it, but it's quite detailed actually. You could kind of see like almost like the muscles on it. But since the fishnets is all around it, it's kind of hard to tell. But besides that, it looks quite well. So you can kind of see she's going for a high kick. Here's the top of her heel, which I feel like this is her heel on the top leg's a little bit shorter than her bottom one, or maybe that's just because of the way they angled it, but it looks actually a little bit smaller than the bottom one. But I don't know, because you can't really have them side by side because she's holding her leg up, so you can't really tell which one's longer. So here we have is her left hand. As you can see here, they painted her nails a little bit of light pink compared to her pale skin, which you can kind of see her palm is a little bit textured, you know, detailed a little, not much. But here, going back to her one piece here, you kind of see it's a little bit pressed up against her, so you do see a little bit of her belly button and a little bit of the fabric creasing around her stomach area while she's doing this pose, which actually looks pretty good, nice. Here we have is her arm, which is a little bit small of muscular texture, but I don't think she really uses her hands much, so it makes sense that she's not really as muscular from the top of her or her arms and stuff. But you kind of see her left bosom is being pressed up against her left arm, which is quite detailed. You can kind of see a little bit of texture work here, and I would assume she has a collarbone here, but because she's wearing her little collar area there, I don't think you can see it. But that's actually, I really like the way they painted it around this area. It's quite detailed, and I think the little section here where they painted by her muscle area, the shading work, looks pretty nice actually. You can kind of see her little bun tie here on the side is also a little bit flexible. So here we have is her right hand being posed upwards, and through this little bracelet here, you can kind of see there's a line through her hand. I'm guessing that's where they glued it, which you can't notice unless you really look into it. But besides that, here's a close-up shot of her face. So she's a little bit more mature in Street Fighter 6. So you can kind of see she has a little bit of a more mature look, a little bit keeping her a little bit of more original look, which still looks really great. Doesn't really matter. It's Chun-Li. She looks great on any style. So here we have her little earring here with her little bun ties here, which are actually quite flexible, but do be careful as well with these. So here we have the top of her head. As you can see here, they did add a little bit of gold in between her hairline, which I don't know why they did that, but I guess it's to give it a little bit of more detail, but it still looks pretty good. As I stated here, a little bit of texture work here on her buns, which look really great, but not too detailed. Here's the top of her ears, or her bunny ears, and these are actually come attached to it, so you don't really, have to connect anything. It's just like this, which, I mean, I feel like it could have been. I feel like you could have had an option to take it off, but that's just me. But besides that, it's actually quite decent looking figure. I really like this. So let's just connect this to the base, and I think I'll tell you guys my thoughts at the end. I did want to mention to be careful when you are connecting this, as you can see here as I'm doing, because you can see that the heel at the back of her leg gets really close to the little acrylic ice cube looking thing at the back. So don't really use force, and just slowly push it in, and also guide it to the hole. I mean, you don't really need to worry about the heel snapping, because the heel's actually a little bit flexible, but still be careful and proceed with caution with connecting this into the base. So here's another freeing figurine that's almost posed in a similar position. As you can see here, we have his Mirko from My Hero Academia. As you can see here, she's also standing in one leg, and she also is quite muscular when it comes to her legs and her upper arms and torso area, which looks really great sculpted as well. And you can see here we have his Chun-Li, who's also posed with a more of a one leg position, a little bit less muscular when it comes to her arms, but more thicker when it comes to her thighs. But as you can see here, hopefully she also has holds up just like Miracle here on her one leg. Alright guys, so that was Good Smile Company's freeing 1/4 scale PVC figure of the character Chun-Li B-style or Bunny version. So all in all, I gotta say is such a great figurine. I remember seeing this coming up for pre-order, and I had to get my hands on it. And if you are wondering, yes, I did get Juri, so when that does come out, I will also be doing an unboxing of that and also putting it side by side with Chun-Li. So anyways guys, what do you guys think of this figurine? Is it worth the price? I don't know. If you really like Chun-Li and her Street Fighter 6 design, I'd recommend it. But I think there's also more affordable figurines of Chun-Li, but to each their own. I really like this because she's also doing her high kick. So if you actually want to see more pictures of the figurine up close and other angles, I do have an Instagram and a Facebook. I do have a Twitter, but I think Twitter is a little bit more limited to what I can actually do on it. So I just still do the same thing, but a little bit less than I do on Instagram and Facebook. And I did want to address, because I know I did see a comment that I sound a little bit too nervous or a little bit too excited, and it kind of is a little bit annoying. So I do want to apologize if I do come out that way. I think it's just the way my tone of voice sounds, and also because I'm not gonna get too much into my personal life, but let's just say I don't really have people I can mention stuff that I do or get excited about, like anime series and stuff like that. So I tend to use my YouTube channel as an excuse to, get excited or talk about a series that I really do like. I do apologize if that does come out the wrong way, and I'm gonna try to tone it down maybe in future videos. Maybe that's a maybe, because I still like I want to get a little bit excited for stuff. So apologies ahead of time, but as always, like I always say guys, so I'm gonna leave you guys off with the figurine rotating in 360. So as always guys, thank you guys all for the support. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.